Let's talk about it. Each Friday at this time, host Dennis O'Brien and Susan Johnson interview guests who are involved in their community. The show challenges conventional thoughts, probes for answers, remembers the past, imagines the future, and gets to the heart of the matter. Let's Talk About It is brought to you by Columbia Ford Kia, Route 6 in Columbia, Connecticut, and Gates GMC Nissan, Route 66, the Boston Post Road, North Windham, USA. Opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of WILI staff, management, or sponsors. Now, let's join our hosts with their guests and let's talk about it.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. This is Susan Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Dennis O'Brien, and have we got an amazing special guest for you?
Who?
Wayno!
Who is Wayno? Oh, it's Wayne Norman.
Yay!
I see. I see him right here and sitting next to me. And good to have you, Wayne. This is a tradition, you know. We have Wayne Norman on the show every year before the Boombox Parade.
Yes, we do.
Well, I guess it's time.
Oh, no.
Right.
Talk about
Yeah,
talk about hats. Hats, yeah.
Susan, tell the radio audience what I just did.
You just put on your Boombox Parade hat.
This was the actual drum major hat from Windham High School back before the Boombox Parade began, when they had a marching band. And then, when they didn't have a marching band, which was the whole idea behind what triggered the Boombox Parade, thank you, Kathy Clark, I got this from the Windham High School office. They would let me go every year into the vault off the office, and I would get this hat, this drum major hat, off the shelf. And finally, after about 20 years of that, they just said, just keep it. We don't need it. So it's in my office now for 363 days of the year, because, of course, on the 4th of July, I'll be wearing this. And then today, for you,
For us.
I'm wearing it.
For me, especially.
For a little while, anyway. It's a tad uncomfortable. I don't know how these drum majors do it.
Wouldn't,
Well, I think it's great, and I think it's a wonderful thing to celebrate our July 4th Boombox Parade, but also the fact that we have declared the Declaration of Independence for 250 years now, and we're celebrating that as well. So we have a great parade coming, and we're coming in different direction now this time, because we're going to have an event after the Boombox Parade that will continue the celebration.
Well, there was talk about it going the other direction, but it will be going the usual direction, westbound, from Gilson to Memorial Park.
Oh, well, thank you for the
But yeah, there was
correction.
a time a couple months ago when they were talking about forming on Bridge Street and then going to Gilson Square,
Right.
in part to get people finishing the parade to be there at Gilson for the big America 250 event that'll begin at 1:30, mostly around the Shabu stage.
Well, thank you for that correction. I really appreciate it. I didn't know about that.
I didn't know you had misspoken. I thought you were, when you said in a different direction, I thought you meant by adding the special event. I didn't know you were talking about the parade going in a different
So I've
direction.
got my drum major hat. Dennis, what is your wife wearing right now?
She's wearing a hat that is, I think, more, almost as attractive, maybe perhaps as attractive as your drum major hat.
Well, thank
She's
you.
got a hat that's kind of a floppy hat. Looks like an Australian bush hat, but it's got stars and stripes on it.
It's my
and Susan, what's
celebratory
he
hat.
wearing?
He's wearing his usual.
My locks, my
No hat.
my flowing
hat.
locks. I've got.
He
I'm
needs
looking
a-
at Rupar. Rupar here's got flowing locks now. I like that look, man.
I think it's a perm.
No,
I don't
I
think
think
it's
he's
a
natural. Yeah.
I don't think Rupar is listening to his music and whatnot, and the style and whatnot. I doubt that he's the type that would get a perm.
You never know.
He's
You're right. You got to be
never-
flexible. You got to be flexible.
Yeah. He's got a lot
I
of
for one
ideas.
have never, even when I had flowing locks, never thought about it.
He had flowing locks?
Oh yeah. I'm gonna have to bring
There's a
up
story I didn't know.
Well,
I gotta bring out my
I have to
pictures
show you
from
some
the past.
pictures. Yeah. But anyway,
You
let's
should
go back
march
to
in the
parade.
Boombox Parade with flowing locks.
Well,
Or has that ship sailed?
That ship has sailed.
we're going to have to
I'm not doing that.
We're going to get some other things, other people. I think the governor's going to be here, so he says. Lieutenant Governor, our,
Will the
our
state
United-
rep be here?
State rep will definitely be there. That state rep, Susan Johnson.
Have you done every parade?
Yes, I think so. I might have been away for one of them.
I think we missed one.
But other than that, we've been here for every single parade.
Really,
And I
yeah.
remember the great Kathy Clark discussing this and creating this with you, Wayno. And this was a great thing that's happened for our town. What a wonderful phenomenon.
It is. We call it the biggest parade of its kind in the world.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that nobody else does it kind of means we win by default, but you know what? I'm going to take that moniker and go with it. Simple as that.
I think it
so,
is that they know ours is so good they can't match it.
I think one
And they just won't
tried
even
once.
try.
But I think one tried and
They don't
didn't
want to
make
play if they can't win, if they don't have a chance to win.
Dennis,
How's that?
Dennis, I know you're a big Philadelphia Eagles fan. That
Absolutely.
came up this morning, but
Yep.
I don't think that a parade like this would work in Philadelphia. But what really surprises me, we've done this for 40 years. This will be our 41st year on the 4th of July, that other small or medium market stations around the country don't do this. Oh, a few have done it for 1 or 2 years. Lubbock, Texas,
Right.
Newfane, New
There you go.
York,
Yep.
Madison, Wisconsin, but nothing of the scope and the duration that we've had. It works, but yet no one else tries to do it,
That's
and hopefully
'cause-
they don't do it now.
That's because nobody has the kind of people that we have, starting with you, starting with this radio station. It does a fabulous job. Starting with me, a guy who used to run around with 6 boomboxes, handing them out to the crowd to make it happen. And I've got 3 or 4 now. I don't know if I can get around that well handing them out, but I'm going to.
I bet
I'm
you
going to
can.
have mine there. That's for sure.
Well, let me just say that this is just a wonderful thing, and it just goes to show when you have a frog bridge and a boombox parade, you are a very unusual community. And this is something that, you pulled out one of Dennis's
Even for the radio
No, that's
show,
not my
I
radio.
brought a boombox. It's not exactly the Tom DeVivo boombox, which is the size of a school bus, but, 1 year Sony actually got involved in this parade. They had a float in the parade, and they gave me 10 of these radios. Anybody that's seen me most years, not every year, has seen me with this red, almost like a basketball-sized boombox. That came from Sony that 1 year they were involved, and you know what? I like it, and it may make an appearance on July 4th.
I like it. I've seen it many times, and I like that radio a lot. And I'll tell you, I want to know what happens to the other 9 boom boxes that you got. You gave them away to people, and hopefully they'll bring them on. It's Saturday, July 4th, right? We're doing it right on July 4th.
We always do.
It's
Every
not
year.
going to be
It's always-
a lot of people celebrating July 4th on the following Monday.
Well,
July
that's
No,
different.
the federal holiday is Friday the 3rd.
Friday the 3rd. I was wondering about that,
But
but
we
I
always celebrate it on July 4th. Everybody does July 4th, but because it's on a weekend, a lot of places will say, "Yeah, you can have another day, so we'll give you the Friday or the following Monday." And that's why that happens. It's not because anybody celebrates on a day other than the 4th. Everybody celebrates on the 4th.
We
You,
always do it on the 4th. Now, one little asterisk on that is that we also do it when it's on a Sunday, which I think it'll be next year. But because the churches are around Gilson Square, the formation area, we're not going to fight God. So we move it back to 12 noon when it's on Sunday. But this year, 11 o'clock step off from Gilson. You can't park at Gilson, so make arrangements for that. And a lot of people used to walk to the parade over the Willimantic footbridge. That's not an option right now, as that's a whole other topic. But nonetheless, we go down to Memorial Park. And
Well, you can go over the Frog Bridge, and that will get you downtown. You might have to walk an extra block or 2, but you'll still be able to go over the river. You don't have to swim over to Willimantic Service District. So the Frog Bridge is there, and it's functional, and you can walk on it.
You talked about fighting with God. I can't resist this because back in my day in New Britain, they used to say, if you fight with God, you better knock him out on the first punch.
I don't plan on
No one's
having
gonna-
that battle.
Wow.
No, I
Is that,
never.
is that how you're bringing New Britain into the show today?
Well, I have to bring New
Come
Britain
on.
in. New
Is that
Britain
a
is always, right,
weekly
right, Matt?
event.
New Britain always gets,
I beat him to it last week.
I spent my formative years there, and look at me now.
So it's their fault.
That's what he says.
That's a contrary opinion to what I just said.
That's what he says. He says it's
People always ask
got
about the
conditions there.
origin of this parade. Many people give me credit for the parade. Oh, no. I actually was a naysayer early on, but didn't have a marching band for the Memorial Day parade in 1986. Kathy Clark, big fife and drum woman, came to us a couple of days in advance, and she came up with this concept, and we thought, wait a minute, this is going to take some major explanation how this is going to work. No. And she went away, and we thought she wouldn't come back. Well, Kathy Clark, Cupid that she would become, came back. And we decided, she says, you don't want Memorial Day? How about more lead time for July 4th? So we had massive organizational meetings, had to explain this concept over and over again, radio, newspaper, and so forth. The parade those first couple of years went Memorial Park east to Gilson Square. And at 9 o'clock, 2 hours before step-off time, I drove by Memorial Park, and there was nobody there. And I literally said, wasn't this a good idea? I did not think this concept was going to work, but I was going to go along with it. Well, that first parade, from the first person, me, who stepped off, to the last person, fire trucks, went by the termination spot. It went 44 minutes. That surprised me. It was good, and a tradition had been born. We've had them as long as 2 hours. I think this year's parade will be a little longer than the last few. They've been running about an hour and 15 or so the last 4 or 5 years. I think this one might be a little bigger, all because of this America 250 thing. I think a lot more people are going to come out this year.
I think you're absolutely right. We've been talking about it, and we've been seeing a lot of the history on different public television shows and different streaming and all around, just the discussion on regular TV, and certainly here on WILI, we've been talking about the America 250. And this is something that I think is really important to our society, to listen about the history, what happened after we signed that Declaration of Independence, all those wars that occurred, all those people that fought for this independence. This is something that I think is so important for us to understand. It is a celebration, yes. It's a celebration of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, but also it was the beginning of major wars that created the independence ultimately.
Dennis, ask me if anything is new in the parade this year.
I think you just asked it yourself, so I'm going to just photocopy it and send it back to you.
Maybe, Susan, you can ask me that question, since he doesn't seem to want to do it.
Well, he's difficult, So,
well, look, you guys are dumb. I want equal time.
I want to know about
Not this week.
What new things are we going to do?
Right.
Wayno, what are the new things in the Boombox Parade? What can people expect aside from having more people join us, perhaps?
People might have been to the prior 40 Boombox parades, but we never had a competition in the Boombox Parade before. And I know that Bev York and Kathy Shires are two of the prime movers and shakers behind this, but this was being done because of America 250. This is a one-shot deal. We've not had competitions for entries and floats in the past, and we don't plan on doing it again. But we'll have 5 judges who will be sitting not far from our front steps here at 720 Main Street in Willimantic, and they'll be having a number of categories to judge the various entries. When Bev first told me this story, the first thing I said is, so you're going to just retire the trophy and give it to Willie Brew right now? Because they're clearly the highlight of every parade, the way things have worked over the last 15 or so years. And she says, no, they're going to be in a category by themselves. But other people in the parade, I have the actual judges' form here. And the categories I'm looking at are traditional float, pulled by truck or other motorized vehicles, regular motorized vehicles like passenger cars, pickup truck with no float, small motor and non-motorized like mopeds, motorcycles, e-bikes, wheelchairs, strollers, or other push-pull or horse-drawn carriages like Dennis's wheelchair, for example. And then all pedestrian units, meaning no vehicles. And there's other categories in each of those: America's Birthday, Best Wyndham History, like frogs, Best American History, Most Creative, and Best Youth Unit. And then they've got a whole another checklist here of things to check off. And from what I hear, I'm not directly involved in this, but from what I hear, it's going to take them a while to compile all this. And then the people who are the winners of these entry, float competitions are going to get a nice plaque. It's going to have a picture of them on the actual unit they're on in the parade. And I don't know what the actual merchandise prices are going to be, but hopefully some local merchants will step up and give things out. So I think it's really cool.
Well, I love that, and I want to know more about the category for the youth, because one of the things that I did as the rep, I've been invited to talk to different schools, kids in the schools. And what did I do? I talked about our July 4th celebration, how we have this great Boombox Parade, and also that this is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And I handed out information and different types of things for the students. And I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity to teach the students, and the school system here also agreed. It's a great opportunity to teach our young kids kids all about how America was developed and formed.
I think that on an annual basis, we get Little League teams, we get Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. I know Velarde's brings a big group out, and they stop and do routines. By the way, I would like it if they would do a little shorter routines, because when they stop, it holds the parade up, and there's big gaps, and that's not good. We love Velarde's, but you've got to keep moving a little bit. Can you do your routine while you're moving, or you have to stop and do all that?
That's interesting. Yes, I used to have to twirl the baton and keep moving without stopping.
And in the gymnastics groups, they've done some phenomenal things as well. They tend to stop the parade too, but I think those are some of the youth groups that we're looking at for that one category.
Very, very good. Well, that's very interesting, and it's great to have them participating and understanding and being part, probably in the future, of the July 4th Boombox parades that we will have moving forward.
Who's going to be carrying the parade banner down Main Street?
I have no idea.
It's been you for like 38 years.
About
and then,
36
and then you
years.
just got too old.
I just got last year I was in a car, an open car, with the Cupid, one of the Cupids, with Kit Eves in the back seat and Jamie walking alongside us. He was supposed to ride in the car, but he didn't. He wanted to walk, and he was determined, and he did it. And I'm going to be determined this year. I'm going to walk with my wife this year. I haven't done that in 38 years.
Well, it was that one time down the aisle.
Well, we've done that. Yeah, we've done a lot of walking together too, in other contexts, but not in the parade. So I'm thinking about that. But now with this,
this is the first I've heard of it, by the way. First I've heard of it.
It's coming right out. You know, sometimes things come up on the show. That's what's so great about these shows, including the morning show and our show.
Is this why you
sometimes new ideas come up. These are not scripted shows, and sometimes we have new. And I'm thinking after reading here, I'm a very competitive guy. In case you didn't know, very competitive. I started playing ball when I was like 5 years old, and I am a tough competitor. In fact, I used to trash talk when I was in Little League. Okay, bad.
Naughty.
If I was an opposition player, I would have punched me out. That's
okay, all right.
But anyway, I'm competitive.
Your point is?
This has to do with the parade.
I'm getting to it. I'm thinking about competing. I want a list of those categories.
You'd never know we're best friends, would you?
And maybe I can come up with...
I would, actually.
I might be able to come up with something
You might not know we're married, either.
Well, I'm not competing with you. You're not competing. You're in your own category.
Marching.
You're in a category all by yourself. Yeah. And as always. And that's great. But I don't think I'll be with the banner this year. I think last year I didn't make it, and the station came up with a great crew. Right, Matt?
Including our general manager.
Art
Robotham was one of the banner carriers.
I think Art Robotham was the one who recruited the crew. And I think he did a marvelous job. I don't think I've ever seen as many people on the banner as last year. That was fantastic. I was very much impressed.
Well, full disclosure, since you've retired from banner carrying, we do have that banner that needs to lead the parade. That's even in front of me.
Yep.
And we need banner carriers.
Even in front of you.
If anybody out there wants to march in the parade and says, what am I going to do? Well, here's an idea. You can be front and center. Let me know, Wayne at WILI.com, 456-1400, the whole deal, because we're a little short on banner carriers right now. And by the way, it would be nice if you'd bring a radio along while you carry the banner.
Yes.
Banner in one hand, radio in the other hand, hold that puppy up.
I can point to pictures of myself carrying that banner for years. I was always holding a radio up high, always. And I will be holding a radio this year. And you're right, Wayno, the parade doesn't work without the radios. You got to have the radios. We don't want any dead spots in the parade. We want music. You don't want to just see people walking down the street.
And on top of that, there's something else that's new this year, and I'll admit that I have talked on air about this entry contest I mentioned a moment ago, but I have not mentioned this on the air. Maybe it came up on one of our morning shows, but we are actually going to be enhancing the sound on Main Street. We are well aware of the fact that there are some dead spots in the parade. A lot of people just come to the parade and leave their radios home. They seem to miss the memo. But there's times that you notice that you can go a whole block. You don't hear a lot of the soundtrack, which is, kind of not good. So we're going to be putting up speakers up and down Main Street, and that'd be blasting out the soundtrack. And I think that's going to really kind of bring back the original concept of the marching band music played on the radio, saturating Main Street.
I love it. I love it. I heard you say that on the air, and I'm so happy that it is a reality, that it's not just talk, and that's good. And anything that will get the sound up. The sound it's a boombox parade, and we need the sound. And Wayne, when you're up front, by the way, and when I'm carrying a radio, I can't tell where the dead spots are because I can it's right in my ear, and you got it right in your ear with the WILI big boombox.
Well, one thing that I've started doing since the first couple of parades is that since I'm at the beginning and I'm done, but the thing's going to go probably another hour until the parade is finished at Memorial Park. So what I do is once I get to Memorial Park, I start walking back down the parade route where I can get up close and personal, see what these people are doing in the parade, interact with people on the sidewalk. Maybe I go on the north side of Main Street when I'm going back down toward Gilson Square, and I come on the south side when I come back, and I enjoy that a lot. And I basically go back until the final, whether it's Willie Brew or the fire trucks, whatever, because I got to be back at Memorial Park for a little post-parade wrap-up. But I like doing that. So that gives me a chance. But my point is that when I do that, that's when I've noticed the dead spots in the parade.
I've seen you do it, and I think that's a great way for you to not just be at the front, but be in the entire parade all the way up and down. I've done it myself. The problem with me is I'll carry my radio next to me, so it's hard for me to tell where the dead spots are, except sometimes I will notice.
A couple of things that are kind of fun about the parade. Two of the biggest viewing spots would be Willie Brew, waiting for the famous Willie Brew float, and right across the street, the Town Hall lawn. That Town Hall lawn, elevated as it is, used to have those two big maple trees. One of them came down in 2011 in a microburst, and the other one came down a couple of months ago because it was starting to die. And what I hear is they're going to put another tree up, but it will not provide shade, nor will the 2011 tree that came down providing shade. So now when people are on that Town Hall lawn, they'll be in the direct sun. Hopefully soon we'll have another tree there. There is some bushes around there, but that used to be a great spot to stay cool during the parade. Now it's going to be in the sun.
Well, that's one of the things that I think is really important to point out. And people who, people can bring an umbrella or something to deflect this. Very well said, a parasol, depending on your gender, perhaps. But but for me, it's an umbrella or hat. You wear a nice hat. A good hat will keep
like the one you're wearing.
Like the one I have on, yes. It'll keep the sun off, and wear some sunscreen, too. Always put sunscreen on anyway. Anyway, this is Susan Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Dennis O'Brien, and our incredibly special guest this evening, Wayne Norman, who is the leader of our Boombox Parade, a wonderful person every morning on WILI. And I got to say thank you to Gates for taking care of our show. We'll be right back after these messages. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Susan Johnson. I'm here with my co-host, Dennis O'Brien, and our incredibly special guest, Wayne Norman, and he is the leader of our Boombox Parade here at WILI, which has been taking the lead ever since its beginning. And now, Wayno, what is that vest you're wearing?
Well, it's a sequined red, white, and blue vest, stars and stripes and all that. And this was given to me by the parade mama, Kathy Clark.
Oh, my goodness.
I think Kathy made this. I don't remember the original story. I've worn it in a few parades. I don't wear it in all. It's one way to, keep her memory alive. But it's gorgeous. It's a little on the heavy side. You don't want to wear this on a hot day, but it's really nicely done. So during the break, I switched off and put the Kathy Clark sequined red, white, and blue vest on.
You also changed hats. Tell us about your hat.
This hat came to me from a buddy of mine that I met in Moscow when I was there in 1998.
I remember when you went there.
Well, he's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He worked for the World Bank, and he and I have stayed in touch. He's a funny guy, and he keeps talking about coming up to the Boombox Parade because he works for the World Bank. He travels a lot. He gets lots of frequent flyer miles, mostly Delta, and he was going to use Delta miles to bring him and his wife up here to a parade. He's got some health issues this year, but instead he ended up sending me this United States of America, 1776 to 2026, 250th anniversary hat with a big eagle, Statue of Liberty, and the Liberty Bell on the hat. So
that's a gorgeous hat. It really
it's the first time I've worn it.
It's beautiful. It's a great combination. The beautiful vest and the great hat. It's really very celebratory.
You know, there's another tribute to Kathy Clark that's important on the parade. You know what it is. It's the
This land is your land.
right, and Paul Ashton and Susan Oldershaw usually carry that flag. In fact, I've carried the banner so many times, but they always go right up ahead of us, and rightly so because of Kathy Clark. And I've always gotten a big chill up my spine seeing that come out and thinking about Kathy Clark, who Susan and I both knew very well, of course, as you did. And they do a great job of carrying it. I'm sure they'll be there on the 4th on Saturday, carrying the banner, and I look forward to it.
And if people see that This Land is Your Land banner, which I think was there in parade number 1, I think it's been in every single parade. But if you look at it carefully, usually on it'll be the north side, as you face the banner, it would be the left side, there's usually a little, maybe 1 foot by 1 foot sign that just mentions Kathy Clark. So a little tribute to the woman without whom there would be no Boombox Parade.
I think you're right, Wayno. That of course, is from a great song written by the late great Woody Guthrie. Fantastic, who was, of course, a close friend for a while, for as long as he lived, and they were together, Bob Dylan. One of my favorites, as you know. Anyway, looking forward to this parade, looking forward to all of them. I think people are probably looking forward to this one even more than anyone in the past. Hard to compare because they're all so great. But this is a biggie. It's going to be on a Saturday, which I think that's going to help to increase the crowd as well. And it's a weekend, and we got that special thing going on after the parade, and it's just going to be. The day is just going to be amazing. I can't wait. And Wayno, you got to work real hard though in your role as weather guy to make sure that weather is good on that day.
Do you know that in 40 prior parades, we've only had rain during the parade once? That was 2014. A little light rain began about 10, and we had long meetings. I can still remember a communication I had with people like Fire Chief Mark Scrivener and the like about what should we do. And you've got other little things involved, too. If you're going to call it off because of the rain and tomorrow's going to be better, well, you need a permit to close Main Street.
Yep.
You didn't put in for that for July 5th. So we eventually had it, and people got wet. It rained harder as the parade went along. It was not a torrential rain, but it was rain. And the overwhelming response that I got from that, people liked it. They came out, and people brought umbrellas and slickers and raincoats, things like that, but they wanted to have it on July 4th. The fact they got wet, most people didn't complain. Maybe a few that would have complained stayed home, but nonetheless, we learned a lesson that day. The only reason that I think we would delay it and or postpone it would be lightning.
Yeah.
That's something that would be a public safety threat.
That's right.
But a little rain, we're going to have the parade, rain or shine. Now, that being said, in the 40 prior July 4ths where we had parades, it's rained 14 times. But only once, 2014, was it during the parade. Now, once, in 1992, there was one of these big 3-inch rain nor'easter kind of deals that came through the morning. It was finishing on the morning of the parade.
Right.
And I can still remember coming here in the studio, turning our TV on, watching the Weather Channel, because you don't have all these fancy apps and things now and computer programs to be able to do it yourself. And we sort of said, the tail end of this is going to be coming through by about 11:30 or 12. We delayed the parade just shy of an hour, and we had the parade. Yeah, Main Street was wet, but it was not raining during the parade. Those are the only 2 incidents of weather we had.
Yep.
We've had days that were 98 degrees. That first parade in 1986, Bradley had a record low that day. It was 46. It's a day like we've had a lot in the last couple of weeks with low humidity. The afternoon high was like in the lower 80s. It was a beautiful day, and there's some days when it's hot. Hey, it's summertime. You're going to get that, but we like it. And one other thing about this parade that always, I'm thankful to what Kathy Clark did, coming back and saying, okay, not Memorial Day, let's do 4th of July.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a parade like this, as silly, as festive, as over the top as it is, being held on Memorial Day?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Memorial Day is more of a somber holiday.
Much
Yes.
more.
And the fact that it just happened to coincidentally become a July 4th parade, so fortuitous for us because it certainly reflects the spirit of independence and let people come out and have a good time.
Absolutely.
I'm
It's a
sure
great
when
thing to
Kathy
celebrate.
thought about it, she understood that completely, and I think she knew that, you know, that.
Well, no,
it's
she's a big parade person. She
Yeah.
wanted a parade, and I think
Yep.
that in her case, July 4th is next on the agenda.
That's right.
If it wasn't that, it would have
Yep.
been Labor Day.
Yeah. You know, those were the days
Well,
when.
that's an idea too.
Those were the days when there was an awful lot of fife and bugle corps.
Well, she was
activity.
in.
That's
Yeah.
right, and she I think she grew up in Hartford.
The
And-
other
and-
thing
and,
about
and they had the churches had them, and I know I lived near Hartford. New Britain had them. I wasn't part of it. I was never into being
I
a
was.
musician.
I've always been in every parade.
You were a
Since
big
I was
parade girl
always,
when you were a kid.
I was a baton twirler. I had my students that I would create costumes for, and we would march in every single Memorial Day parade. And we were always celebrating the veterans and the people who served our country and gave their all.
Another
so
funny thing-
something is very, very serious, and one thing that, because my father was a World War II veteran, it was something that I felt very strongly about participating in, and it was great because the military people who were in the parade in South Windsor actually were pleased to have me with my students twirling the baton with them, so in front of them. So it was
Can
a great.
you still twirl a baton?
I sure can.
Wow.
She can.
I bet you can.
No. I'll tell you what. I fooled around with it a little bit as a young
yeah,
person, but I
don't-
can't do it like she can.
No, you
No.
can't. In fact, not many can.
I can't even
actually.
spin a basketball on my finger,
But
even though
they
I'm a
say
good
I
basketball
shouldn't
player.
use that. in
Well,
this
another
parade,
nugget
yes, yeah.
Kathy related is that for that parade, we didn't have any of that kind of music back in that time, and there was no YouTube. You couldn't download
Right.
it off the web or whatever.
Yeah.
So one night, this is back at the old building, which I guess we're in for one more year before we move to this building at 720 Main Street. She came down one evening, it wasn't a daytime, and she brought this box. She had albums of all these marching band things, and she had a few other sources too, like 45s and maybe some tapes as well. And I didn't know what a lot of these songs were. She knew what every single one of them were. So when you hear the soundtrack of the Boombox Parade on July 4th, you can be thinking about the fact that that's all music that was suggested by and programmed by Kathy Clark. So we recorded it, and we put it on a cassette, and for the first couple of years, it played the same soundtrack. I mean, those are the best bands playing the best music. What are you going to change? And eventually, we went digital. But a couple of stories about the soundtrack. One of my favorite stories, is that on the soundtrack, we have the theme songs, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. I get a call like on July 10th one year, and a guy says, "Hey, what about the Coast Guard theme? We've got the Coast Guard right here in Connecticut." To which I said, "Coast Guard has a theme? It's called Semper Paratus." And so he sent me a cassette, which I still have, of music by the Coast Guard Band. We inserted that, and anyone who knows the Coast Guard will notice that for the last 30 years or so, we've had the Coast Guard theme on our soundtrack as well. And I've added one or two other songs along the way. The Yukon Fight song would be one. It's ironic, too, for about the last 10 years, we have had a song in the soundtrack of the Boombox Parade by the Windham High Band, who ironically had disbanded, pun intended, that created the Boombox Parade concept in the first place. Well, they're back again now, and they recorded, and having been to many Windham High games over the years, specifically football and basketball, I know the pep band that played at those games would often play Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas. So they gave me 4 songs. I picked that one. So when you hear Carry On Wayward Son done by a marching band, not by the band Kansas, that's the Windham High Band. I think that's a unique tribute to what kind of was the trigger for this parade in the first place.
I really love the idea that they're back, and I love the idea that, that this was the trigger, that because the budget probably was voted down and the music department couldn't afford to have the band anymore.
Well, I'm glad those things don't happen anymore.
But at least for keeping the music alive so far. But that's what happens sometimes when the budget gets voted down. The band and some of the arts and things that aren't required by state law go by the by.
I think we should also use this opportunity to mention the unique thing that happens after the Boombox Parade, and for that matter, before the Boombox Parade too. But after the parade, the Wyndham America's 250th anniversary celebration will be held at Gilson Square and the Chabot Stage. People can begin to accumulate there at 12:30. I think the actual program is 1:30 until 3. They'll be having the ceremonies beginning at 1:30, and there will be historical demonstrations. Bev York is doing that. And first-person reenactors to work the crowd. There'll be music, including the 100-piece Wyndham Concert Band to play patriotic music. From what Chris Beaudry told me, it's going to be more like 75. Some people have other July 4th commitments, and they'll be doing Stars and Stripes Forever and the like. So that's going to be a great program between 1:30 and 3 at the Chabot Stage and at Gilson Square. So hopefully when people come downtown for the Boombox Parade, stick around because more things are happening right there at Gilson Square. And before the parade, we've got the 1 mile road race.
Right.
It's now called the Revolutionary Mile at the Boombox Parade, and that starts down by the Fish Market, down by Stop and Shop, and it goes eastbound, following the same route the parade used to take, and it ends right here by the Baptist Church at Gilson Square. And Charlie O'Brien told me a couple of mornings ago that he expects to have maybe 100 to 200 people involved in that. So that's been a big deal, called the Boombox Mile for a long time. This year it's the Revolutionary Mile, so that's going to get people warmed up. That begins at the Fish Market at 10:15 on July 4th.
Well, that's wonderful news, and I was unaware of the race, the mile race, and I think it's well named, calling it the Revolutionary
I was
Mile.
aware of it. I know they allow walkers, and they would have to create a new category for me, not wheelchair, but stumblers. You know, somebody who's kind of making their way.
Why don't you get a scooter? Yeah.
I'm thinking about it now with all these competitive classes. I'm thinking about it.
You get a scooter.
I got to say this though. The first 4th of July parade I ever marched in was not the Boombox Parade. It was when I was in the Army. I was stationed for a while at Fort Devens, Mass, and they gave some of us on holidays parade duty. So we got dressed up in our Class A uniforms with rifles and a steel pot, and I marched in a parade in Plymouth, Massachusetts. We marched right by the Plymouth Rock. That is the only time I have ever seen the Plymouth Rock.
I've not seen it, but I hear that when you see it, it's not quite as impressive as you might think. It's kind of small.
It's kind of small. It's been chipped away by a lot of people. It's now this is back in it was in the early 60s when I saw it. It was in an enclosure with bars around it. I don't think the enclosures would keep people out if they really wanted to get there. But you would have looked like it would have been easy to spot somebody doing it and probably arresting them. It's probably against the law.
When you were in that
I would
parade, did you
say,
bring a
yes.
boombox?
I did not. I didn't even think of a boombox. I don't think they had. Well, they had.
Had radio been invented?
They had. You know what?
Marconi.
My first radio
They had transistor radios
You'll love this.
back
My
then.
first radio was a portable. It was green. It had a handle on it, and that's the radio I used to listen to George Ehrlich and Yukon Huskies with Art Quimby and Worthy Patterson. And you mentioned Worthy Patterson. I still remember hearing that when he scored that final basket in that game, and I went wild, them beating Holy Cross. Anyway, has nothing to do with the Boombox Parade, but I couldn't resist getting that in. That's how I got acquainted with this area about stores, and I didn't know anything about it, but I heard about it from George Ehrlich on WHAY in New Britain. Your
Before the
predecessor.
TIC days.
Yes, WHAY New Britain. They carried the games. It was one of your predecessors. Fantastic. He did a great job, just as you and Marty Glickman and everybody else you've worked with.
When you get to be my age, you have a lot of predecessors.
Yeah, but George was something. I'm sure you mentioned George in your book. I read the book.
I did. There's a whole page on him in there.
He should be.
He really was the original voice of Yukon Hoops.
Have you listened to him?
I knew him. I worked with him.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's right. You go back a long way. He was great. Anyway, looking forward to the parade. The parade now it's gonna shove off at the same hour, right? 11 a.m.
We call in the parade business, Dennis, we call it step off.
Step off. Shove off is Navy. Yeah.
Maybe.
Step off. Yeah.
Here.
In my case, it might be shove off. Somebody might have to shove me to get me going.
So would a good time to come down and circulate and be ready to march is what time?
10.
I think we should probably also identify something that we've been doing since 2012, and that's the safety guidelines.
Yes.
Oh, yes, please.
Among other things, no throwing of candy. We had a real problem through 2011 of people, riding in a car, going down the double line, or even walking in a unit, and they'd throw candy to the curb, and it gets halfway to the curb, and you got kids that would see that candy go sprinting off the curb. Well, this parade has a lot of stuff going on, a lot of riffraff along the curb, whether it be vendors or whether it be people on skateboards or bikes. And we had an incident once where a kid went to sprint out for that Tootsie Roll Pop, bang, got hit by a bike.
Oof,
so
terrible.
what we've tried to do, we don't say don't pass out candy, but hand it out.
Yeah.
Bring someone along with your group and hand it to the people, or throw it over the curb, back on the sidewalk, and not on the street. That became a real safety issue.
I just want to say it seems kind of funny that you pick up a candy off the road and eat it. I mean, there's germs
it's
on the
wrapped.
road. It's germs. I know it's wrapped, but you still, if you're taking it off, your hands are dirty. You put your hands on the road.
Well, one
and
mother-
you have these kinds of things that I would give serious
I'm
consideration
not surprised
to.
hearing her say that. She's very careful
I'm a
about stuff like
germaphobe,
that.
yeah.
And rightly so, rightly so.
One mother told me after we started doing this, hand it out to your kids,
Yeah.
the candy to your kids,
Yeah.
she said, my boy actually felt honored that someone actually walked up and gave him
There you
candy,
go.
rather
That's-
than having to scramble out and pick it up off the street.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
point.
You.
Good point.
Excellent point.
The other thing that became a real serious issue was super soakers and water in general.
Yeah,
We've had
terrible.
to keep water out of this parade. A lot of other parades do them. I think Columbia allows water.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. Number one, you get those super soakers, which became a real issue throughout the 90s and early 2000s. And you get people that are collateral damage. You get people who do not want to get wet, and they get sprayed. But more importantly, as we were talking earlier, there had been a problem with not enough radios, not enough sound on Main Street. You are begging people to bring radios to this parade, and then super soakers get the radios wet. That's a
Great.
bad combination.
Great point.
I will admit that since we came up with those guidelines, the water guidelines, it's worked pretty well. I see very little water in the parade. Then there's other things, including reckless behavior. I saw guys going down the street doing wheelies, and you do not want to make the national news for the wrong reason, where the guy flips over and back and splits his skull. And then there was that guy in the stock car one year. That was probably 2011. He was in the back of a flatbed truck, and he's revving his engine. There's this acrid white smoke coming out, and the fire chief told me that people reported getting actually sick from that smoke. So that's just some of the things we're trying to keep out of the parade. We
Yeah.
don't need the stock car was great, but revving the engine, that went too much.
Well, a healthy boombox parade is really what we want. We want everybody to enjoy the parade and be healthy and not get germs. And plus, you don't even know what's in the water sometimes when people are spraying. Where did they get the water from? That's very dangerous as well. So you don't want to have people doing any of those kinds of things. Keep all your things to yourself. And if you want to hand out a candy, I think that handing it to the people is fine. But throwing it around on the ground doesn't appeal to me in the least.
The publicity we get from this parade is fabulous. Generally, the 4 network TV stations in Connecticut come out here. Some years you get 3 out of the 4. But when this thing first happened, we were getting some national, even international attention. There was an AP writer that picked up on the concept before that first parade in '86, and she wrote stories on the Associated Press that ran nationally, both as they call it an advance in the business, meaning a preview of the parade, and then she wrote a story on the parade that ran nationally afterwards. And in my office, I have a copy of Prensa Libre, which I think means free press, in Guatemala. And they did a Spanish version of the Boombox Parade, and they quoted me in Spanish. That was from the AP story that they translated into Spanish for that newspaper. But I remember the first or second parade, Dan Rather on CBS Evening News,
yeah.
they did coverage of the parade. So, and it just, we've had so much positive publicity for the town, and we certainly hope to get more of that this year on July 4th.
Yes, we do. And tell us again one more thing about what we're going to be doing. When can we line up for the parade, and the direction of the parade, and then what will be happening after the parade? Just as
Before the parade is that Revolutionary Mile at the Boombox Parade at 10:15 to 11. People begin to accumulate at Gilson usually around 9. Some people I see before 9, but if you're going to be in it, especially got something fancy, some people like to drive their vehicle into Gilson Square and do their decorations right there an hour or two before the parade. I see plenty of people doing that.
They do
Yeah.
it.
And then the parade steps off at 11. There's no pre-registration. We don't know who's coming. Although I'm going to break this news right now. You got a scoop on this one. There will be no traveling Fishhead Club of Northeast Connecticut in this parade. Jimmy Baber and the gang have done it every year since year one. Year one, he set up a table in front of our old building at 948 Main Street, which became Cafe Mantic in Stone Row, and he had a display of old radios. He watched the parade and said, I want to be part of this, and year two is when the Fishhead Club began.
Yep.
Well, Baber and the family, they've got a wedding to go to, not in this area, and they will be taking care of that business, but I guarantee, I'm speaking for Jim here, they will be back next year.
Yes, yes. I just saw them recently, and I know they will be, and they're right in town, and they'll be glad to do that.
Jim is an old friend, and we talked to him all about it. They love doing it, and
the fish wife,
Karen
too.
Drazen is
Yeah.
his fish wife, and they do a great job. They get their crew there, and I will miss that. I will miss them not being in there. They are regulars, and they are usually they're right there at the beginning with everybody. And this is Dennis O'Brien here with Susan Johnson, my co-host, and our very special guest Wayne Norman, talking about Saturday, July 4th, and the Boombox Parade. Be there, folks, and enjoy.